All right, everybody, we are here at week 3 of the ICL with the Slab Sharks versus World Class Cards. Now, Slab Sharks is undefeated right now, and World Class Cards is defeated, looking for their first win today. I am JBaum, joined with Thomas, the Great Stone Dragon. Thomas, how are you today?
Oh, hello. I'm doing pretty good. How are you doing, J-Bomb?
I'm good. I'm good. I'm hoping my team, World Class Cards, gets their first win today. It's been a tough battle so far. The unfortunate part of this format is if you kind of hit one bad matchup, you're likely to hit a lot of bad matchups, and that's sort of what happened in the first
Hmm.
2 weeks. So hoping we can get some good matchups this week, but if we don't, it might be a case of the same old where we're just hitting the wrong numbers, where we just kind of switch around, like we put seat two, seat one, and it'd be a whole different story. So hoping for some good luck today.
Yeah, I mean, you get one of those, one or two seats just kind of not in the spot you want, and
Hmm.
the House of Cards can kind of come crumbling down just on your matchup spread. That's for sure.
Yeah, so I'm hoping Whispers in the Well can kind of fix that a lot, because just with how the Fabled meta is set up, it's like if you hit uh, your Blurple into Purple Steel on the first try, that means the other team has likely Amber Steel and Blurple, and then you could then hit your Amber Steel into their Blurple pretty easily, and yeah, it spirals out of control, and so we are going through the altar phase right now to start game one of the match.
See what they got. Hopefully we have a good show in store for us. I don't know if you've caught wind of the results of this match, but I'm going in completely blind. So if you do know what's going to happen, I hope you at least lead me along the roller coaster.
Oh yeah, I will say there is a spicy deck list. Actually, there's a lot of spicy deck lists. I do not want to say what I know, but I know some things. I know most of the deck lists that both teams are playing. I don't actually know what's in this matchup though. I was able to catch some glimpses later, so this one is actually completely blind for me. And so starting it off, it looks like they're just sort of waiting to get the go ahead. And I didn't actually see who won the die roll, but
I'm not sure. I just saw some dice flying. I
yeah,
got distracted by the pretty colors.
look at all those dice. I don't actually. I believe this is going to be Justin Shaft versus. Is this going to be Dale Bolito? I want to say. I'm not 100% sure. I think it is going to be Dale based on the hands. I recognize his hands a little, but it looks like we are starting off with Justin on Amber Steel. Opens with Aurora, which is what you really definitely want to see.
Oh yeah, Inking Lady playing in Aurora. Pretty classic opening.
Yeah, and the bane of Amber Steel's existence. It looks like we are going to see Dale on Amethyst Steel and opening with that mean Captain Hook, which will counter the Aurora. But if we do have the Tiana, it's not the worst situation because you can always just crack back with the Tiana and get a free, not a free trade, but you're kind of happy to, one, lower the board state of the Amethyst Steel for their amount of damage they can do with Strength of a Raging Fire, as well
Hmm.
as not letting them 2 for 1 with that Captain Hook. And so we have 9 times out of 10, I'm happy to take that trade as the Amber Steel player. How about you?
Yeah, I mean, especially you're getting the Tiana down a turn early. Having to give up the Aurora and maybe put one damage on this Tiana to swing back. That's usually a trade you're more than welcome to take.
Yeah, and
We got
Dale
is
is
this double happy here?
double happy, and I love the damage counters that Dale is using. Hopefully, those aren't too sticky of sticky notes, but it is a double happy, which double one drops is sometimes the good play. Unfortunately for Dale, Tiana is not what you want to be against when you're doing the triple one drop strategy, because they're really not going to do anything unless they add those bodies up to add the strength. But Lady and Penny is going to just
Oh wow.
make this game kind of starting to spiral out of control for Dale already, only on this turn 3.
Yeah, I mean, we were talking about putting the 1 damage on the Tiana, like a pretty exciting trade to get rid of that Captain Hook. But now that damage is cleared, resist. So even if somehow these Happies were able to get around the Tiana attacks, which I can't think of anything that would let them. But even if they could, it's not going to do anything here.
Yeah.
Um, putting 4 more lore into play. I mean, this is kind of you play this deck a lot more than I do, but this is kind of how you would want to draw it up, right?
Oh yeah, the trick to beating Amethyst Steel is really all in how many Tianas you play. The more Tianas and the less strengths they play, the more likely you are to win. So, ideally, there's two options you sort of want to do to win it. Is you if you only have one Tiana, you want to bait out their strength with another 3 drop first, and then play the Tiana. If you have two, you're slamming those babies so fast, and then just kind of hoping that they don't have multiple strengths. And if they don't, you can typically take it. And so a lot of this game is how many strengths does the Amethyst Steel player have versus how many Tianas I have, and how many times can I play strength. And so this is
Oh my
pretty
god, and the
much in
Pluto follow up.
yeah, with the Pluto follow up. I don't think there's a way to lose this game anymore unless like there is a Sing strength with Cobra. Um, but he actually can't kill the Pluto and the Tiana no matter what he does this turn. Uh, so there's just going to be too much lore pressure here, I think, for the Slab Sharks at this point.
I mean, you have to imagine the double happy into Cobra not discarding anything. Probably not, the premier curve you're
Mm-hmm.
looking for, but if it's what he's got, it's what he's got to deal with, and getting the genie down just to redraw, see if there's any more options, maybe try to find that strength. But oh man, 2 turns in a row of the purple steel board just having to kind of twiddle its thumbs and watch these amber steel characters turn sideways. That's probably not a good position to be in.
Yeah, and at best, in order to survive the next turn, Dale's going to have 2 copies of Strength, another character, sing both of those, and then we're still left with a Lady and a Penny. And so this Penny, I'm not sure what the resistance going on, but likely the Pluto. And if that's the case, then we're pretty much just out of this game because we are not getting past that Pluto, and Dale is going to scoop him up as expected.
Yeah, that's real tough there. I mean, at that point, I don't think there is much that could get you out of it other than the double strength, and did not look like it was in the cards. But game on the play. Amber Steel's always gonna be happy to be able to start on the front foot. Going into a game on the draw against Purple Steel, you're definitely a little bit more at the whim of what their 1, 2, and potentially 3 curve is, right?
Right. Yeah, and so what Amber Steel's going to want to be looking for in their altar is it's one of those situations where Aurora is not very good on the draw in this matchup. And so, like, while it sounds good, you're not actually going to want that, but you are going to want multiple Tianas. So you can do Tiana on 3 and 4, and you're kind of just going to want to stop their early lore pressure, build up some Tianas, build up some power to sing strength, and then catch the board back, and then that's when you go turning sideways. We are actually more of the control player on the draw, and so a lot of the times it's not going to go
Hmm.
our way. It's not a favorable matchup, and so it's you got to really have to craft your hand. I personally like starting with a shift Rhino and just saying I'm going to get some early lore here to keep up with you in the race because otherwise you can just sort of lose out on the race. And so that often can set up too, where you just auto lose to a Madam Mim skater, and sometimes it's just you just got to say that's okay because this is already a bad matchup. And so I like the shift Rhino, and I like a lot of Tianas and some early fire the cannons.
Yeah, that all, I mean, makes a lot of sense to me. Like I said, you've played a lot more Amber Steel than I have, but I've played a lot of dogs in this format, and as another, Amber aggressive deck, and in this matchup especially, like, you want to make sure that the Amethyst Steel deck is having to answer what you do, and if they ever get to a point where they're able to just start questing with their board, suddenly you look at your cards and you're like, oh crap, how do I come back from here?
Yeah, and not a great hand from Justin. I saw him alter 5, it looks like. I didn't catch what Dale altered here, but
I didn't catch it either, but I mean, sometimes, especially like 5 specifically. That can be the magic number.
Yeah.
Hopefully that'll draw him into what he needs. Dale, I imagine, mostly just looking for like a Captain Hook on one and then a Skater or Calhoun on two. But past that, I'd have to imagine pretty much anything else that he can keep in an opening hand is going to be gravy.
Yeah, and for those who don't know, Dale, famous for actually losing his gold Mickey match to my co-commentator Thomas over here.
Oh man, you don't got to do him like that. Dale's a great guy.
I know
I
Dale.
don't even bring it up
Yeah,
that much.
I know. I've known Dale for about 20 years. Actually, met him through Yu-Gi-Oh, and was somebody I looked up to because he was one of the early Yu-Gi-Oh greats back in like 2005. But getting back to actual Lorcana here, uh, we Justin did set up the Aurora, which is something that I said is not the greatest. So, and then turn two, Dale plays the Bane of Amber Steel, Calhoun. Calhoun is extremely problematic and is going to put you in these situations that are just very, very hard to get out of. And that is one of the highest win rate cards for Amethyst Steel on the play or draw. Is just if they put down multiple Calhouns, it is almost impossible for the Amber Steel to win unless they get multiple Tianas themselves out.
It is notable here. Justin plays the Mulan, opting to use his ink instead of questing with the Aurora. So obviously, on board, not wanting to feed it to the
Mm-hmm.
Calhoun, but either has more in his hand that he's building towards, or hoping to find something off the top of the deck to help clear this Calhoun.
Yeah, to me, it looks like he probably really wanted to play that Fire the Cannon and then maybe didn't have a two drop yet, or just really wanted to keep that Aurora on board for him to build up strength of a Raging Fire bodies.
Yeah, I mean, especially being on the play here against this curve, it's definitely possible you could still have a Tiana, right? Playing
Yeah,
the early Tiana off the Aurora once your opponent is on the play and has that Calhoun and hook, you still get that same trade into the hook, but then, it's not the greatest tempo play, but Dale could always just pay 3 and crack back with the Calhoun. So
yeah.
might still be setting up for that. Lawrence here, though, that's a pretty big body. We haven't seen a Fire the Cannons or anything like that come out from Dale's side yet. So hopefully this 4/4 can be a threatening presence.
And Dale reading exactly what this card does. I don't actually, I can't even
That
tell
is
what.
Poor Unfortunate
Ah,
Souls.
thank you. And what does that do
I
for
can
our
tell you that.
listeners?
It's a 2 cost song, returns a character, item, and maybe a location that costs 2 or less to that player's hand. I don't want to admit how much I've played that card just in this set with the green purple deck, but I've definitely seen it across from me enough times.
Yeah, and I will say, unfortunately for Justin, he drew Zombie Lilo the turn after he discarded an Aurora with Mulan, because obviously he would have preferred to discard that Lilo if he's going to be discarding an
Mhm.
Inkable anyway. And so that's kind of a tell for those who are kind of just looking to try and figure out what's in your opponent's hand. That's always a tell you can that they drew the card or they inked the card they drew that turn, and then you can kind of see, okay, they're keeping the cards in their hand that they're crafted and had early, so that can sort of tell you they're holding on to what they've had and can give you some certain reads to help you in your own decision making process.
Yeah, I mean, also possible, maybe he's got just a lot of uninkables in his hand, and so just needed to keep something to ink. But if I'm not mistaken, we saw an Aurora discarded
Yeah,
off that Mulan, so that's just
exactly.
even more, proof that the Lilo pickup was, either that turn or maybe the turn before he was trying to hold it but wasn't able to. And now we
Yeah,
have a Dumbo following up a Genie on the previous turn. These are kind of the board states that this deck is looking for, right? Starting to put some pressure just in terms of lore and card advantage, starting to present some threats, and basically just forcing Justin to have to make a move sooner rather than later.
yeah, and surprisingly, the Larry, aka the Lawrence, his friends call him Larry. Lawrence survives that turn after getting Justin to lore. It was a brave quest from Justin, I thought, but he gets rewarded. No punishing act, and Larry gets to see another day. And so hopefully he's going to have a strength here, or this game's going to be out of reach. And there it is, the mighty strength to take out Dumbo, the ninth wonder of the universe.
Do you see another penny coming down? I gotta say, A lot of 1-2s and 2-1s on Justin's side, just staring at this Calhoun, waiting for it to leave play.
Yeah, that's almost a situation where do we consider actually taking out the Calhoun over the Dumbo? Probably not, but I always got to consider that because Calhoun is just such a menace, and it puts them in just this ability to race while answering your board. And so it's one of those
Hmm.
considerations where if we do take out the Calhoun and then we just full quest, then they're going to have to consider trading with the Dumbo instead of using Dumbo's ability, and maybe that's worth it. But Justin says, I'm going to wait one more turn. I've got one card in hand. That looks like a
I think it's Yzma.
Yzma and Mr. Smee trying to avoid the glare. Thank you, Dale,
Yeah,
for doing your best to avoid the glare. The Yzma is out of sight right now, but we at least got to see it a little bit.
and notably, the card draw off the genie, off its own effect, and then drawing another card off the Dumbo has given Dale just enough card economy that he's been able to ink up to 6 while still presenting all these threats.
Mm-hmm.
Now has the strength of his own to try to start collapsing Justin's board. He's got this, card draw pressure from the Yzma. He's got the lore pressure from these genies and the Calhoun, and he's decided now it might be time to just turn everything sideways. Um, you know, Getting rid of that Lawrence, there's not really anything that can answer this Calhoun other than, something like a strength or maybe a fire the cannons combining with this Mulan. And you have to imagine if he had the strength, it's probably going to come out already. Like we already saw one on the Dumbo, so
Yeah. So
well, it
this
might
is
just be time to go to the races.
yeah, this is going to be the climax turn. I think that's going to decide the game. Where if we don't really answer anything, we're just going to lose the race without Dale ever having to interact again. I assume Dale would interact again, but um, I'm curious to see. I'm not really seeing what Justin can do without a singer to really stay in this game. And so this one's quickly getting out of reach. We are going to play our first Tiana of the game. A little bit too late, I think I'm going to be afraid to say. In these situations, Amethyst Steel's gotten too much time. We see a third penny now, and so yeah, we are just going to go ahead and quest out.
Yeah, he's decided it's time to shove and make the best of it. Maybe if this Yzma wasn't in play, there's a possibility to hold for one more turn to get this Tiana active. But at this point, he's already got 6 ink, so he can pay for enough of the tax to just kind of take her out and then do some fighting elsewhere. So might not be the preferred time to quest, but it's what he's got to do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and so it was one of those. If he waited another turn, then Dale can just full quest, and then now you're having to answer a
Oh my
board with
god.
all one strength characters and a Mulan, the most one of the Mulan surprisingly one of the highest strength characters in the Amber Steel deck.
Yeah, and you have to imagine if this already, wasn't a bad position, it definitely is now with the Yzma, drawing 3 cards, one of them being a dock. So Dale's gone up what +5 cards just this turn while also developing his board. So
Yeah.
if Justin's not able to collapse it here, I don't think he's going to be able to win the race, even if he is just questing for the rest of it.
Yeah, no, this is, I think, checkmate, and we're going to be seeing a game three with our Justin being on the play. Yeah, we're just going to play it out here. There's not much Justin can do from this point on, but kind of accept his fate. So I think we're going to see a scoop on his turn.
Yeah, and I think, for the most part, there's probably not too many surprises here. This feels like a matchup where, being on the player draw can really impact it. Just the ways
Mm-hmm.
like your sort of your normal curves kind of clash into each other. We saw, even without the Tiana coming out, it could have potentially been in hand, and just the difference of the Captain Hook coming out on the play versus the draw just changes that dynamic so much. And now, Dale's able to take the luxury of challenging down this board while still leaving, 3 to 4 characters ready. So if this isn't the last turn, it's effectively the last one. He's putting
Mm-hmm.
the nails in the coffin now.
Yeah, and we do see the scoop from Justin. And we are going to a game three, but Justin will be on the play once more, where if he can just open up with the Aurora into Tiana again, it might just be a easy victory for Justin. So we'll see what he does, and we'll see what Dale does. And obviously, I think the Amethyst Steel player is still, this is still like a little favored matchup, but Amber Steel very very strong on the play, and so never count them out.
Oh yeah.
Dale's just going to be looking for a few Calhouns, and then that's pretty much it. Is maybe Calhoun's a Skater Mim to get that Calhoun into challenging a Tiana if necessary, a 3-drop and strength. As Tiago taught me, there are so many 3-drops in this deck. You're basically just or the Amethyst Steel deck is basically just altering, looking for a 1-drop, looking for a 2-drop, and then shipping everything else back for a strength of a Raging Fire.
Yeah, because at that point, if you have your 1-drop and your 2-drop, then your threes are interchangeable enough that as long as you find that strength and they can sing it, you're kind of happy with whichever one you find.
Yeah.
Now, Justin being on the play, obviously we were just saying it's going to be a very big advantage here. If he doesn't have the Aurora into Tiana, like what other openings is he going to be looking for here?
Um, it's tough. A triple daisy is never bad. A triple daisy makes opponents sad. Uh, a triple
That's
daisy
true.
might make me mad, but sorry, had to go for the triple rhyme with the triple daisy. But yeah, so the backup plan, you want Aurora Tiana for sure. The backup plan is just a nice curve with perhaps a daisy into a 2-quester into a just a normal costed Tiana. But basically, if we don't have early Tianas, we're gonna feel quite sad. Lawrence is another
Mhm.
backup plan from Tiana because it can just trade nicely into the Calhoun after Calhoun like takes out something, for instance. And so we actually switched from Pete's, Justin is not playing Pete's. He was playing a similar list as me in Milwaukee. He actually made top 16. And no Pete's, we played Lawrence instead. And Lawrence was just such a heavy hitter. And the main reason for that was his ability to take down Calhouns in this specific matchup and in the mirror match, taking out Tiana's and Calhoun's there for the Ember Steels that play
Mhm.
Calhoun's. I would
Yeah, I mean,
also
in this
like,
format, a 4/4 is just pretty big.
oh yeah, and I would also like to talk to Justin because he's got to stop playing this black on black, and it's very hard to see.
Oh man. I mean, don't you just have like a warehouse of sleeves tucked somewhere in your closet? Can't you hook them up?
Yeah, but they're all black.
Oh no.
I get the Amazon bulk magic, the Gathering black sleeves. Okay, so Justin is going to ink a Lawrence to play a Rhino. Now, this is actually another situation where I do really like Shift Rhino, even on the play. It's going to get you likely 6 lore unless they have like exactly Captain Hook into Skater Mim, and then if they do, you're just like, ugh, and feel quite bad about that, and you might just lose the game on the spot. But it is a risk that I am always willing to take because of just how bad this
Hmm.
matchup is. In this situation, he does have the hook. I kind of consider how many times he's altered, but if my hand is like committed to the Shift Rhino, I'm not going to get to 20 if I don't quest. So if they have it, they have it, and so it's one of those where Riverboat,
Yeah,
let's go.
I mean, at the very least, it's potentially something that can quest into the Captain Hook that isn't just going to trade one
Yeah.
for one, or like, it's going to require them to have more than just the Captain Hook. I'd have to imagine like Troubadour isn't the worst follow up here.
Mm-mm.
My understanding, you definitely want this card more often on the draw,
Yeah,
but
it's
potentially an early strength against a Calhoun might still let us get some questing in here.
Yeah, it's going to guarantee that if we have strength, we are going to be the first one to play it. But if we don't have strength, Troubadour is going to just be very, very slow. And so Dale does have the Calhoun. If we have the strength, we will actually be in pretty decent shape because we could play a character, sing the strength, take out the Calhoun, and then the Captain Hook cannot crack back and take out our Troubadour. So we are going to play a singular Daisy with 2 more ink. We're throwing out the
Looks like
Shift
maybe the
Rhino.
shift. Yep.
And we do have the strength.
And I see a strength.
So this was actually quite an insane turn. We are going to take this lore from the Rhino, and so he did have the Shift Rhino, opted to do the Troubadour with the Strength to set up a much stronger play, and I got to agree, this is way better than risking it with the Shift line. So luckily he had that Troubadour and a Daisy to just fill all of his open ink. So this is a very strong position from Justin, and
Hmm.
Dale is definitely on the back foot from this point.
Yeah, and I mean, we saw him ink an Yzma last turn. Um, typically like 4 and 5 cost is going to be the top of your curve there. So probably just inking it for that reason. But if he was relying on this Captain Hook Calhoun to sort of buy some time to either find another source of card advantage or set up a different one, this might have completely, thrown a wrench in his plans.
Mm-hmm.
We'll
Yes.
see. I mean, the Captain Hook can battle in, but like you said, he's not trading cleanly with anything here.
No, and then
We do have
okay.
a genie to follow up.
Yeah, and we're likely just gonna have to pass here, and then the best play next turn is probably going to be to develop a few characters and sink strength. But even then, you're just gonna be able to kill a Daisy or a Troubadour, and that Rhino is going to run rampant. And so, luckily, Dale has a very healthy hand though, so maybe it's even a situation where he can play three one drops and sing a strength and take out the Rhino, and then we can trade in and take out the Daisy, and then all of a sudden we are very far ahead because this Daisy is about to just start feeding, and the Daisy hits
Oh,
a
strength
strength.
going to the bottom.
One of my
That never feels good.
favorite plays as an Amber Steel player is when we can hit that strength, and he has another
Another
strength.
strength. Oh no.
Oh, this game is
And
getting.
notably, he only had one card at the end of last turn, so either
Yeah.
finding the second character there or finding the strength itself. I'd have to imagine the way he's played this hand out probably had that second strength,
Mm-hmm.
but finding another character that you can play alongside it, icing on the cake right there.
Yeah.
And now we're back to just Captain Hook staring down this whole board, and it gets wider by one every turn.
Yeah, and if we're looking at like an ESPN tracker, I'd say there's like a 90% chance for Justin to win this game. I'm not sure how Dale's going to come back from this one. This is a lot of lore pressure, and he's just faced with a Captain Hook that can't do anything.
And we'll see what he decides to do here. But I mean, this Captain Hook not really accomplishing anything other than just putting some damage counters on some stuff. So pretty easy. Keep him ready there,
Yep.
and hope he can do more on the next turn.
Elsa's
All
big.
right, the Daisy quack quack gives us a character this time,
Yep. And we
but everything is turning sideways anyway. So the Elsa's ability not as useful as it might otherwise be.
Troubadour, one of the worst draws right now. We just want to be drawing things that quest for more than one, just to kind of finish this game out. So we can start taking stuff out from Dale's side. He is going to have to answer some things because we do have Lorthal on board. And so I assume the Captain Hook is just going to free trade into the Nile. That's an easy one. Then the next plan is what else are we going to be able to take out? Because uh, it the genie just doesn't trade nicely into any of this. These are all pretty thick boys and girls.
Yeah, I mean, unless we have, some sort of action in hand, like a fire the cannons, or, if we'd be lucky enough to have another strength, maybe we can pop something here. But the way it looks now, we might just be seeing the Elsa come down just purely as a rush character
Mm-hmm.
and having to use the Elsa and the genie just to challenge into one more body.
Yeah, it's not the worst
But I
play.
mean, if I'm in Dale's seat, I'm definitely hoping for a bit more.
Yeah, the Elsa
We'll see
would
what he's
keep you
cooking
in
up.
the game because you would take out the Daisy, and then Justin would go to 18, having two Troubadours and a big Rhino out. And so then we're left with we got to kind of hope Justin doesn't draw a Quester, and then we can likely answer the Rhino and one Troubadour to survive the next turn. And so we're just sort of thinking through those lines from Dale's perspective, and we ink what appeared
I
to be
mean,
the bigger Jasmine, which is
yeah,
not something I
even
always
though
see.
even though these troubadours only quest for one, just having resist on
Mhm.
a 3 willpower body, considering Captain Hook's the only thing that deals more than 2 here, that might still just be enough to make these challenges awkward enough to get over the finish line, even if we don't find another quester off the top.
2 Captain Hooks.
And we see 2 Captain Hooks, Dale deciding that his
He
best route to victory is to set up for challenges on the next turn.
Yeah, he has to have a strength though, because otherwise this is going to be Lorthal, right? From 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. So without a strength, um, yeah, it's over. So obviously he should have it.
See if there's anything else to follow up here.
This is, I'd say, what I'd consider the climax of the turn, the most important turn of the game. Every game has one of these for the most part, except in like blowouts. But so everyone, I always let opponents like have a couple turns where they can take a little longer than normal. But like you still want to play at like a good pace. I'm not saying he's playing slow or anything. Obviously, like it's a very quick matchup when you're against Amber Steel. But
Yeah.
we're going to see the strength, I'd imagine, here to hit the hamster. And he did actually have the 3-1 drops that
All
I was
right, there we
saying
go.
before, and that's actually going to hurt because we are going to go to 18, so we're really going to hope to draw a 2 quester to make him have another answer. But you know what Dale's last card is? That
Yeah, he's still
Elsa.
hanging on to that Elsa. And that Daisy served it up on a silver platter. That might be just enough for him to clear the board, but honestly, even once he does, I looked back at his lore total. He hasn't quested once yet this game, so he's still going to have quite a mountain to climb.
Yeah, it's going to be a
I mean,
tough
this
climb for
is
sure,
definitely
but
the part of the game. I mean, Amber Steel starts to run out of gas here, right? So, I
yeah.
mean, Justin could draw a dock at any moment, but anything besides a dock and a 2 quester, I'd have to imagine is a little bit of a disappointing draw at this point.
Yeah, I think that Justin is on 3 ink, so a Pluto, a Rhino, a Strength, a Fire the Cannon would be pretty devastating, to be honest, for
It looks like
Justin.
he's deciding if he might want to do any challenges here, or potentially deciding, if he wants to wait a turn to quest.
Yeah.
Stacey,
Okay, so
not being kind in the total number of cards it's giving Dale, but the one it did give him was an Elsa, and that's probably one of the best ones he could ask for.
mhm. So the Elsa does come down. Justin's going to need to draw another 2 quester on this next turn, or he's going to be in words of JDZ, one of my buddies, in trubs.
We'll see. Plenty of Captain Hooks to go around, but still some consideration on how these challenges are actually getting made, because other than that Nala, nothing here is a clean knockout.
Yeah, and this is the little Captain Hook that could. The one all the way on Dale's right side of the board, from our perspective, has just been there since turn one, biding his time. He's taken out a Nala at this point, 2 Nalas at this point, actually. 2 for 1ing
Oh yeah.
while still surviving. What a great turn one card that is. Yeah.
He's just been doing his best to hold down the fort all game. We see, one of the troubadours going, but now we're just left with the genie, so that's not quite enough to knock out that last troubadour. So now Justin able to go to 19 on his turn.
Oh, and Justin draws a Fire the Cannons. This
Ooh.
is not what you want to see. You wanted to see any character that can quest for anything. And so this
Oh
is
no. And he's taking
brutal.
out our favorite Captain Hook.
Yeah.
At least a little bit of
He
silver
goes to
lining there.
19. And so Dale still struggling for resources himself, but Justin just needs to draw anything. If Dale draws an answer though, he's gonna be or has an answer in his hand, he's probably feeling pretty safe and like he's wrapped this one up. But what just an unfortunate draw for Justin. this is similar to how
Oh yeah.
I lost to dogs in Bologna to get my second loss. I was 19-0 and I drew cannon strength to lose the game, and
Yeah, but
so
even still, I mean, Dale's not going up that high on lore, so Justin's still gonna have at least another draw step or two to find something, and like you mentioned, Dale not working with a lot of cards in hand, so he will still have to find either some answers off the top, or maybe another dock, or on this next turn exactly like an Yzma
all
could
right.
probably still be pretty good.
So Dale does have to have an
Ugh,
answer here, or Justin wins. Let's
yeah,
see.
that Lilo,
Dale slaps down
he's
the Elsa
scary.
off the top,
Ooh,
and
another Elsa.
that is going to, I think. Let's see if he gets. Does he have enough lore now? Is it going to be exacties? I can't tell. We're up to
And
10,
this
11.
Lilo, I mean, it's
One,
really
two,
tempting.
three, four. No, you can't take the Lilo. Oh, and Dale shows another Elsa,
Oh my god.
showcasing that no matter what you draw, you have lost. And so another Lilo, but Dale has that other Elsa, and that's going to be
Yeah.
game.
Another Elsa for another Lilo, and he gets to wrap it up just like
Oh
that.
man, Dale just had that crucial turn where he was able to save his Elsa, and that did win him the game. So well played by Dale. It maybe that cannon didn't even matter because of just how many Elsas he had, but maybe actually it's close. Hard to say, but very 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 well played by Dale because that was such
Oh
a
yeah.
crazy start from Justin. That was like the Bears game this past Sunday where I thought the Bears like had 100% to win, and then all of a sudden they're like about to lose there. They did end up winning, but in this case Justin didn't win, so not the best comparison now that I'm thinking about it. But yeah, that was a great match. They don't get closer than that. All right, let's and we're dealing our hands. All right, so we're swapping sides. It looks like we have world class cards on the left and we have Slab Sharks on the right. I believe this is
hmm
Josh, also known as Shadox, yeah, Shadox. And then on the left, I do not recognize my teammate here by the hands, so we'll try and
I
figure
think
it.
it's Kendall, if I'm not mistaken.
Ah, yes. It is. No, I'm not. Good call. You know his hands better than I.
Yeah, they those hands love to send me incendiary DMs on Twitter
Whoa.
anytime there's any discourse around ink tokens.
Now, I do gotta shout out this mat that Kendall is playing on is absolutely gorgeous. If you were lucky enough to be at Milwaukee early on that Thursday, they had a very nice pre-party called the World Class Cards Enchanted Evening, and that was one of the mats you could choose from. There was another one of Oogie Boogie and another more normalized Jack Skellington and not kind of Flaming Pumpkinhead, but this is just a beautiful mat. There's gold foiling on it, and then Josh playing on one of my other favorite characters and playmats. This is probably my favorite one that Disney Lorcana has actually like made that you can buy during the sets. Is that Winnie the Pooh Honey Wizard? One of the coolest cards.
That's a great one.
Glad they brought it back for an enchanted. I know it's not the most playable card, but that was like one where people were like, all right, you can reprint it. We love this art. Make it enchanted. It's beautiful." All right, so to start it off, Kendall is playing a Develop Your Brain, which signals to me it's either Blurple or Emerald Sapphire. And we've got Josh. Oh, he's on it, Thomas. Have you seen this one? The Toilet Bowl deck?
Ooh. I don't know if I've seen this specific list, but I have seen quite a bit of green steel floating around.
Okay.
I'm interested to see where this goes, but a turn one cursed merfolk when your opponent starts with the develop your brain,
Mm-hmm.
usually a pretty good spot to be.
Oh yeah. So the Toilet Bowl deck was popularized by another Canadian named Ray, who actually finished X3 at Milwaukee, and it's basically just rain down one drops on your opponent with Dump Truck and Kakamura, and just take out their early stuff,
Oh, buddy.
and then just quest for not a lot, but with a lot of characters that are all like just shooting for one. And so, what we do not want to see from Kendall's side right now is a dump truck to take out this Basil.
Yeah, a dump truck here would put in quite a bit of work. I do have to say, I think I have seen some of this deck in action. And if the version I saw was anything like this one, we might get quite a fiery game.
Yeah, and we just inked the fishing pole, which is a card I don't think many have ever seen in competitive play. It's quite interesting. It comes into play exerted. You can use its ability to return a character to your hand, and you gain 2 lore. So, kind of a good finisher. If something's going to get banished, you can quest with it, bring it back to your hand, gain 2 lore, and replay it. So, it's a decently high lore swing toward the end of the game if you need it.
See the genie coming down here. No dump truck to pick off that Basil, but a Calhoun still pretty threatening. We'll see how it plays out compared to the last match we just watched, but I mean, so far, Chris Merfolk doing what it does. It got in for 2, and either going to quest for some more, or at least trade it off for another card.
Yeah, this is one where if you have Elsa, you probably don't want to quest, and if you don't have Elsa, or sorry, not quest, take out the Merfolk. So if you have Elsa,
Mhm.
you don't want to take out the Merfolk because if you take it out, then he cracks back with Calhoun, and then he has a Calhoun that survives. But if you don't take it out now we can play Elsa, pump up our Elsa or Genie, and then take out Calhoun and Merfolk if he quests.
Yeah, you know what that does, though? That makes the play take one more turn, and in that time, we could see a dump truck come down and still throw a wrecking ball into these Basil plans. We'll see what the follow-up is here. Captain Hook inked to play a Captain Hook, but not the one we saw last round.
Yeah.
This is another one that I feel like could be described very similarly to how you described the fishing pole. It is a card. I'll give it that.
uh, yeah, and so it's going to help accelerate Josh's plan to get to 20. Quest for 2 here. I'm actually unfamiliar. I can't read what it does. Are you familiar what the actual effect on this card? I've never actually seen this card played before. I need to
Well,
look this
let
one
me
up.
pull it up for you real quick. This is one of those where I could tell you what it kind of sort of does and explain it in a very roundabout, annoying
Yeah,
way when I could just spend 2 seconds to pull up the card.
yeah,
Um,
and he does play the Elsa,
so
so we are going to see that turn that we talked about previously, and which kind of telegraphed by not taking out the Merfolk with the Basil.
yeah, while we're getting to that, the Captain Hook, real quick, as we saw, was a 3 cost character. It's a 1/4 and quest for 2. While it's exerted, opposing pirate characters can't quest. Not super relevant in that matchup, but what might be relevant is whenever it's challenged, you get to draw a card.
Interesting.
And so, notably, we saw the play that you were talking about with the Elsa, using the support from the Basil. But in this case, it took out the Captain Hook instead of the Calhoun.
Which I'm
So
honestly
he
kind
did
of
get to net a card
surprised.
off that.
But it does stop a Singer. But we would have left it to one
Yeah.
body. I'm interested to see his reasoning on why he wanted to give him a card off of the challenge when he could have just taken out the Calhoun and left him with that for next turn. Because now the Calhoun cracks back and he gets some extra lore. Uh, I think our
Yeah, I'd
Basil
have to
actually
imagine
survives.
the singer probably played a part in
Mm-hmm.
that. Calhoun challenging in versus the Captain Hook questing, both of them effectively, getting you to lore. So maybe just deciding that taking the singer off the board, it might have been worth it, and also he's got some challenges back into this Calhoun, so potentially not really too fussed about giving up the Basil there. But we'll have to see. I mean, Kennel's got a lot of cards in hand, so definitely could still have a plan brewing up. And we have a Prince Philip coming down, another 3 cost character that quests for 2. Um, once we move into Whispers in the Well, this card might signal quite a different type of deck than what we're seeing here. But for right now, he's just coming down as a two-quester that can't be interacted with thanks to his ward.
Yeah, small PP is definitely going to be a huge threat in the Whispers meta. So for now, it's kind of just surprising to see him, as it's very slow to do the combo, but we're just playing him for the warded two questing ability for 3 in this Toilet Bowl deck.
Yeah, and I mean, having 3 power to boot, definitely not too shabby, considering that there's Under the Seas running amok.
And
We have
there,
the Dumbo coming down to keep the cards flowing.
yep, and flow they shall.
All right, so now that Calhoun's taken out, um, so just deciding that, taking the trade this turn, definitely still worth it. We have this Elsa loaded up with damage, so potentially preparing it for a Bell to follow up. Um, Notably, no targets to actually move damage to, with the Prince Philip having ward, but Shodax having plenty of cards in hand, so I'm sure we'll see more than a few characters still for the rest of this game.
Oh yeah, and it's surprising to see the Emerald Steel player with a hand this size this late to the game, as it is a kind of unique aggro deck. And so we've lost all of our characters, so we say our strength is not going to be huge anymore, but we're actually going to hardcast it to take out one of these Elsas, which is not a very strong play. And then a fishing pole. So we've theoretically, or not theoretically, we've literally just not done anything to the board really this turn to accentuate our game plan. So the fishing pole would be much better if we were say like 14 or 16 lore, but at below 10, it's just not going
Yeah,
to be what we want to be doing.
I feel like this probably has to be signaling pretty hard to Kendall that there's more going on in the hand. If this was all that he had going on, there's a pretty good chance he would have, waited with the Prince Philip to be able to quest and pick it back up. So if I'm Kendall in this spot, I have to assume that, I didn't see quite how many cards he has left, if it's one or two, but I'd have to assume that there's, either a dock or some other strong on play effect in hand if we're just kind of quote unquote throwing away the Philip here. But I mean, I guess that's kind of just the power of that Captain Hook that we saw, right? It came down, unfortunately got challenged down pretty quick, but he
Mm-hmm.
did get to draw a card out of it. So, in this spot, if it was something else, he might have been out of cards already. But the Dumbo, speaking of cards, going to work, anytime you're playing against a more aggressive deck and you have a spot to play this Dumbo and draw multiple cards off of it while your opponent is still less than 10 lore, you got to be happy with that.
Oh yeah, yeah. And this Dumbo's just gonna cycle Kendall out of this game, or sorry, make Kendall win this game pretty shortly here and cycle Josh out of this game. And here is our hero, Kakamura, not going to be able to use his effect, unfortunately, because there are no pirates out.
We did have that dock to follow up, gaining 2 more cards. And now, if Kendall doesn't have an answer for this dock in hand, could be replaying it at least one more time with this fishing pole. So, from a board state that looked pretty bare, he's putting it together or putting it back together pretty quickly.
Yeah, it's almost a build your own dock with that fishing pole, where you can get a couple lore too. So, a very, very good refill mechanic, because typically once you play dock, it's a pretty useless card, but the fishing pole allows you to replay it, gain some lore, get some more cards, and so it's very interesting. But now, if we get more Kakamuras, they are online because Mr. Arrow is a pirate and Kakamura is a pirate himself.
Yeah, I mean, don't even know where we'd be throwing the damage at this point, to be honest. I mean, the Dumbo would probably take the brunt of it
Yeah,
because this
definitely not up
elephant,
front.
you definitely don't want to be putting your damage there. And Kendall now up to enough ink where he can draw a card off this Dumbo and still have enough left over to play Hades.
Mm-hmm.
So, he's just going to keep playing these big bodies. we're starting to get to a point where he himself can start questing for a decent bit per turn. Getting rid of that dock there, depending on what the last few cards are, that could have been huge because
Yeah.
it's very possible that using the fishing pole to pick up the dock was pretty much plans A, B, and C.
Yeah, it's very, very wise that Kendall decided to choose that dock. And here we do see a dump truck coming in. Uh, not really where you want to be drawing these type of cards. You want to be drawing like your Prince Phillips, more Mr. Arrows, just your two questers. And so he would have loved to see these dump trucks and Kakamuras early on those Basil, because that Basil did do a lot of work to his board. And so, unfortunately, just sort of the wrong order in this game. But he is at 11 and still has the fishing pole
Yeah.
out.
Yeah, so I mean, even though Kendall's been able to put together a board and keep the other one mostly in check, like we are still threatening quite a bit of lore. Um, just even if these two exerted characters get taken out, just the quest from the dump truck and the merfolk combined with the fishing pole is still close to enough lore to finish out the game.
And
I'd
interestingly,
imagine Kendall's still feeling the pressure.
yeah, and interestingly, Josh decided to not use dump truck's effect on anything, probably to stop a potential bell.
Yeah, probably just deciding that the one incidental damage, most likely not going to provide that much value this game, and just doing any little bit to avoid giving some free value to a bell that Kendall might have drawn. Really, smart play there.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like a lot of players probably would have just thrown the damage on the Dumbo just because it's basically free. But if there was a bell to follow that up, you kind of get a free knockout on the Curse Merfolk just for sort of deciding that you want to get all the value out of your cards.
Yeah, if he was going to do the no damage dump truck, I would have liked to wait one more turn with Mr. Arrow so he couldn't, so Kendall couldn't physically put any damage on because he wouldn't have enough ink for an Elsa and a Bell. Um, or would he have enough? He would have enough. So actually, yeah, just enough, or one off. I'm bad at. I can't
Yeah,
even.
maybe just
Yeah,
deciding to sort of,
yeah.
split
Either
the
way,
difference there.
yeah, yeah. Either way, not a wrong decision, but kind of interesting. Like I'm glad he decided not to pop it because it does lead to these situations where sometimes it's beneficial to not use your cards effects, and so very very interesting play. And so another Hades, and this probably is going to wrap it up for Kendall to take game one in this series against the Toilet Bowl deck.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see. The card off the top probably needing to be exactly dock to still
Mm-hmm.
have the firepower needed. But he's taking a moment, considering all his options, seeing if he has a way through this game still, and we'll see what the play ends up being.
Not what you want to draw. Drawing all the one drops late in the game. There
Oh
is a lot of
no.
one drops in this game, but we didn't really see the one drop we wanted early, and just sort of an awkward sequencing of draws for Josh and Kendall just sort of playing a standard Blurple game, and so Blurple versus awkward draws is almost always a victory.
Yeah, and I mean, even if we didn't have the second Hades, or if the draws from Blurple weren't quite as solid, this Dumbo has just single handedly drawn so many cards
Mm-hmm.
this game that we're at a point Kendall could just bury him in raw cardboard at this point.
Yeah, and so this is going to be a concede as soon as Josh draws, I believe.
Oh yeah, just casually enough ink to draw a card off Dumbo, do some questing, and play two genies and a Rafiki.
No style points for activating the fishing pole. Straight to business for Josh. And let's shuffle up and go to game two with Kendall taking game one. And now the toilet bowl is going to be on the play. Now, I don't actually know why it's called the toilet bowl. I think
I was
maybe.
just about to ask.
I think maybe like I'm just thinking about it. Maybe it's because it's just playing a lot of like cards considered not great, or they belong in the toilet.
Maybe.
But that's just like my best guess while trying to stay on Disney brand.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of the cards come down and they turn sideways, so maybe it's like they're spinning around. You use the fishing pole to yank them back out, and you realize you accidentally dropped your phone in the urinal.
Yeah, luckily have never done that, but there's still time. Beautiful shuffling by No I'm Not, aka Kendall. He's got the bridge down perfectly. Look at that cleanly and crisp shuffling. I need to get some experience on that. I need him to teach me the ways because that is just a gorgeous shuffle.
Well, it might be easier, if your sleeves were in better condition and could slide together easier. I've heard some horror stories about your sleeves specifically.
A lot of people have tried my sleeves and they like them, actually. I think like 3 or 4 people bought them when that day we were discussing it in Discord at one point. So all rave reviews.
Oh, I meant specifically the ones that you have. Aren't some of them coming up on like their fifth birthday or something?
No, I actually I started changing them before every DLC or like a couple matches before a DLC. I need to play a couple matches like on my sleeves. I can't just show up to a DLC like with brand new
Oh yeah.
sleeves or a tournament because they are a slippery. Like Frank
Oh yeah. I've
Karsten's.
definitely had it happen where I put a deck down on the table, having not shuffled it quite enough before it, and just half the deck slides off.
Yeah. And so that actually happened to Frank Karsten's round one opponent. Brand new sleeves, sets the
No.
deck down. They slip and tip over, and so Frank immediately closes his eyes and says, as the good sportsman he is, and says, "Tell me when to open them. I haven't seen anything yet." And so the guy like went down, picked up all the cards, and fixed it. And so good guy Frank Karsten. That's how he started round one, and that karma repaid him by winning the whole
Oh
tournament.
yeah. Yeah, definitely didn't have to wait long for that karma check to clear.
Ooh. So I don't know if you noticed this, but Kendall sent 7 back, which if you play Sapphire and you see someone send 7 back, you know they didn't have ramp.
It's fine. They always have it. He'll have like 3 sales in this 7.
Yeah. And it looks like Josh, a more average alter with either 3 or 4.
Well, hopefully that means he found more of the curve that he'd typically be looking for. Um, I'd have to imagine he really wants to see that curse Merfolk yet again. I mean, if
Mm-hmm.
Kendall doesn't have the Basil this time, curse Merfolk could easily gain 6 to 8 lore in a game.
Yeah, he didn't actually play the Basil till turn 2, I believe, because he missed a turn 1 and then played
Hmm.
Sail with it, which he was on the play and he didn't know what his opponent was. And so there's situations where when you have that option, it's nice to go that route. And so he does have the 1 drop Rafiki, which will be good at stopping the gruesomeness that is the Cursed Merfolk.
Let's see it. I'm waiting for a double dump truck. Okay, not quite, but still a pretty good turn 2 play with the Mister Arrow. And now looks like Josh just deciding, if he wants to offer the trade with this Merfolk, get his lore
Mm-hmm.
now, potentially trade it off for a card. And I mean, you don't put this card in your deck to not quest with it, right?
Right. Yeah. You force them to decide and make these hard decisions. And so if Kendall has a Tipo instead of a Sale, he's going to be in a situation where he's going to be low on cards. He does have the Sale, and so he
Yeah, I
can
told you they always
yeah.
have it.
Yeah, so he can afford to challenge into this Merfolk and lose a card. And so he's going to dig and he's going to be like, "What card would I rather discard with develop?" I'm just kidding. He's looking for good stuff. He probably is going to discard something like a Tipo or maybe an Unink, perhaps a Hades
Yeah,
or
we'll
a second
see
star. Ah, no, the Basil.
Basil. So what that signals to me, either he's probably got plenty of ink in hand and probably some good follow-ups here where he doesn't feel like he's either going to have a spot to weave this Basil in or just everything else in his hand is already good.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of notably though, with the Rafiki start over a Basil, the Mr. Arrow doesn't get to trade back.
Yeah.
And so this Rafiki spends another turn undamaged. It's probably going to get to battle back in here.
Mm-hmm.
We have that Captain Hook, so we can at least keep the cards flowing a little bit. I mean, Merfolk already put Kendall down one card. This Captain Hook probably going to put Josh up at least one. So, I mean, he's playing a pretty aggressive deck, but the card advantage can hopefully at least keep up.
Yeah, and that Rafiki has done its
Ooh.
job.
And now the elephant follow up here, even more reason to have discarded that Basil.
Mm-hmm.
He knew he was just going to get his one drop back in his hand. So if he does have a spot to play it, he's still got that Rafiki coming down.
Oh yeah. And
And
so.
now this is kind of the squeeze Blurple always puts you in, right?
Mm-hmm.
They've made their turn 4 play on the board directly. It's, maybe not the worst case, but then you have to kind of take that gamble. Do they have an Elsa? Do they have a Bell? What can I play around? Is
Yeah,
John Silver coming down, making it so the Mim can't challenge? Honestly, probably one of his best follow-ups here.
definitely. And if there's no Into the Unknown, then this is going to be very problematic for Kendall. But Kendall's just going to start flooding the board out, plays his Genie, plays his Rafiki, and takes his lore. I think from now until the end of the game, this elephant is never going to leave the board, and so it's just going to be, can Josh get to 20 without ever dealing with this elephant? And it's going to be kind of tough because this elephant's going to start getting some damage on it, especially if this John Silver quest. So this John Silver might not be in a situation where it can, and two Mr. Arrows
Ooh.
is going to be nice. And then if this Captain Hook gets challenged, yeah, and he agrees he's not going to quest with the John Silver, noting that that's just going to be too much
Hmm.
damage for the elephant. And so if I'm Kendall, I could be convinced to Elsa down the John Silver, not only stop the singer, but also get some damage on my elephant, and then take out one of these Mr. Arrows for free next turn.
Yeah, I mean, Josh looks like he only has one card left in hand, but even with that, you still have to, at least consider that that last card could potentially be strength.
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, a lot of times just the threat of the strength, makes your opponent play around it in such a way where, if you don't have it, it's not as good as if you did, but it's at least getting you some value just by existing in your deck.
Yeah. And still no Into the Unknown from Kendall's side, which I think he would play it pretty quickly if he had it. He can double
Yeah.
trade,
Also,
but I don't know. Do you
I,
want to
I
double
was
trade
gonna
into
say,
this? That's two cards, right?
notably, he decided to use the Dumbo effect with the genie instead of questing with it. So he's still trying to keep the cards flowing. So he's identified that, obviously there's a wide board on the other side. So he hasn't quite stabilized. And either this means he's looking for answers, like he might not have any, or, he has some, but it's not quite enough. And instead just opting to quest one more.
Yeah.
Because, like you said last turn, anything here, either challenging into the Mim Elephant or just questing in the face of it, it's got to be a pretty calculated decision.
Yeah, and Josh can go to 15 this turn. Uh, and notably, Kendall could
Ooh,
have taken that Captain Hook out, but he didn't want to give two cards. And that 4 health made it so it would have taken 2 challenges for Kendall to get rid of it. And that was just one more challenge than Kendall wanted to give. And this is one of the better turns Josh could have had, adding 4 more lore to the board, which is going to get him to 15. And then so, oh, this is going to be a very, very tough predicament for Kendall to answer. This went from a pretty good looking position to uh, double drop the Mr. Arrow into another 4 lore. So 2 turns of pushing out 4 lore of worth of bodies in a row, and that could be the end of Kendall, and we may be seeing a game 3 here.
Yeah, and I mean, at this point, an Into the Unknown on this Captain Hook might be too little too late, even if he does find it. But we saw how good that dock follow up was, and if he had challenged into the Captain Hook, it would have basically been like giving him a dock for free.
Hmm.
So we can see why he might have not even considered it. But now we got a lot of bodies turning sideways. These Mr. Arrows, you know, put a decent bit of pressure on this Blurple deck just to even have the right characters to challenge them down. So we see this Dumbo having to come in instead of being able to activate for its ability. He's still got enough challenging in play that he could decide to take this Captain Hook out now.
Yeah, he has to take the Captain Hook
But
out or something else out to not perish.
yeah,
But you do give him two more cards if you do take it out. So it's it's not a good situation right now. We still have all of our ink.
yeah, definitely a rock and a hard place.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. We have all of our ink. We would like a Hades. Like we have to
Yeah,
have drawn one at this point, right?
I'm guessing at this point, if he does have a Hades, then the hard part here is probably deciding either what to ink or basically just going through sort of all the motions, just deciding if there's like any reasonable targets besides this Captain Hook.
Yeah.
um
I think
I have to guess that if he's tanking on it this long, then either the ink is tough,
okay.
or we have something like this Elsa. So if he does have a Hades, maybe just trying to decide if he can sort of hold on to it as long as possible.
Yeah, I was gonna say if he had Elsa and Hypnotic Strength, it would actually be better than a Hades because he could take out the Merfolk and the Captain Hook while only giving one card draw from the Captain Hook. But he is going to challenge into the Captain Hook twice, and Josh is gonna say, "Thank you for the cards, kind sir. May I have another?"
Yeah.
And Kendall's granting his wish and says, "Yes, you may have another. Draw your two cards." And so another build your own dock.
Yeah, notably, I mean, he's so close to that 20 lore. It might be time to just kind of start questing no matter what.
Yeah.
But we do have enough power in play now. If he decides it's worth it, we can just take out this elephant if that's still, going to be
Oh,
a pretty big thorn in his side.
yeah. Yeah, definitely an option. It takes two of our lore to take out, and if the elephant is going to take out a merfolk, that right there pays for itself, and so that might be the better play. So that is very, very nice to point out. Where like if we're playing a merfolk and that elephant's going to take it out anyway, might as well just take out the elephant, and we're in the same
Although,
place.
what's one card that I believe we've only seen as ink so far that could be pivotal if Josh can find one off the top? There are Go-Go Tamagos in this deck, as far as
Hmm.
I'm aware, and that elephant can hold quite a bit of damage
Oh yeah, that is a good point. And we just got double Kakamura'd.
into another dock. Oh my god. Well, I mean, this is usually what docks do, right? Docks draw into more docks, and this time it was a dock
Not my docs.
drawing into some bodies, and then a Captain Hook acting as a free dock drawing into another.
Oh, did he draw a strength here?
Oh, that's
That
brutal.
takes out the elephant. Oh man.
Yeah, now, singing one card as opposed to having to
And the
throw
dump
away two
truck.
characters.
Oh wow. And so dump truck and Doc.
Wow. This board just collapsed so quickly.
Yeah, it's a build your own strength and like have Thunderbolt, I guess. we
Yeah, and I mean, it doesn't even matter that these characters only quest for one, considering just how many of them there are.
Yeah, that's what I was kind of saying. It's they just sort of spew out and answer one or two characters, and then all of a sudden we're questing for three, and they don't have anything because we yeah. And Kendall says your Kakamuras are and dump trucks are too powerful. We must go next. And Kendall will be on the play for game three. and we just got to see kind of what this deck sort of does. Like, it didn't look very good for Josh. He was kind of not doing much, and then all of a sudden, he drew a bunch of cards off that Captain Hook, and then
Hmm.
drew a bunch of cards off the dock, and then he just started blasting with the dump trucks and the Kakamuras, and then all of a sudden took control of the board. It was quite quite the interesting game.
Yeah, just I mean, basically just throwing cardboard at Kendall until he got too many paper cuts and couldn't stop at all.
Yeah, shout out to the Slab Sharks for kind of bringing this off the wall deck that is very favored into Sapphire decks.
Oh yeah. We'll see what the game plan is now. Knowing the matchup, being on the draw for the third game. I mean, I still can't think of anything he'd want to see more than that turn one cursed merfolk, but
Mm-hmm.
maybe looking for a slightly different follow up being on the draw, or maybe kind of just looking for more of the same. I mean, he can chain those docks together
Mm-hmm.
like he did last game. It almost, in a way, doesn't matter what you start with.
Yeah, if Kendall opens a Basil, I think the dump truck and the Kakam or not Kakamura, it has to be dump truck. The dump truck would be very very solid. Just getting some more
Yeah,
likely. Uh, so we'll see how it plays out, but I'm hoping for another like exciting game here to get some more. I want to
yeah,
see
and I mean,
Kakamura and dump truck pop off, man. Like, I'm sorry, I know Kendall, you're on my team, but I never get to see this deck. I want to see I want to see it like its potential. So I am rooting for Kendall. Obviously, he's my teammate, but I also want to see like this Emerald Steel deck like do some stuff. And so Kendall, another Alter 7, uh,
I think this one was an altar six.
Alter
I think he kept
6.
one card in hand. So I'd have to imagine that that's probably a sale, right? But if I'm in Kendall's seat, and I have that turn two ramp, but the one drop I have in my opening seven is a Basil instead of a Rafiki, I feel like I'd be feeling some pretty good pressure to throw it back and go looking for that Rafiki.
Oh yeah, I'm on the
Because
play.
man, if you play a Basil on turn one and it dies to a dump truck, I might just scoop the game right there just from emotional damage.
Yeah, I'm probably not playing the Basil on turn 1 if I can avoid it. All right, so a more reasonable alter from Josh with another 3 or 4, similar to last game. So Kendall tapping his leg ferociously, and he does have the Basil into the Rafiki, as you said. So probably happy to see that, and um, hopefully he doesn't get double dumped on.
I bet he was real happy to be able to ink that Basil there.
Yeah, and here is the Merfolk. A sail is played. That
I mean,
hypnotic
so far,
strength
I mean,
into the unknown gone. So so far, kind of a very good start from Kendall. Just unfortunately, that hypnotic strength and into the unknown probably not my favorite ink choices because of just that Captain Hook being such a nuisance. Where if you don't let your opponent draw any
mhm.
cards off that, I think you're in a very good spot.
Yeah, I mean, my guess would be he has either, some more card selection in his hand, trying to find exactly what he's looking for, or he's got, those 4 and 5 drops that he's just really hoping to follow up with here.
Yeah,
And the fire the cannons, deciding that the Basil Rafiki, quandary, it doesn't matter. We're just gonna go bang bang, and the
mm-hmm.
one drop is gonna go away regardless.
Yeah, and we're gonna get Dumbinoed now. And you know what stops a Dumbino on turn 3? The triple dump truck. I don't think we'll see it, but
Oh my god.
you never know.
Yeah, but I mean, even with this Dumbo sticking around, you do have a pretty interesting question on if the Dumbo's even supposed to trade into this Merfolk, or depending on what Kendall's hand is, he might just be desperate for that card draw,
Well,
and Josh deciding that that decision doesn't even need to be made.
yep. Just saying, I'll make it for you. I'm gonna draw off of, or I'm going to let my Merfolk live.
Yeah, and ooh,
Oh,
the 5 drop here is a Bell instead of an Elsa. So this Merfolk getting to quest at least one more time.
yeah, and no damage anywhere means that Merfolk gets to survive, and so Kendall body language changing, arms crossed here, and just kind of off tempo, like not off tempo, but not the cards you want to play in those
Yeah,
spots. Like he's not wasting ink or
I
anything,
mean,
but it's just yeah.
I'm guessing the rest of his hand can't be that good because usually when I see him, like put his elbows on the table like this, he's scowling because he sees me walking over.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah,
probably not staring at a grip of like, another Into the Unknown and whatnot.
yeah. And Josh decided he didn't like Winnie the Pooh's face anymore and made it into John Silver's face. Kind of flows kind of nicely there, though, I will say. And here is that Captain Hook we were talking about, which was such a menace last game. No into the unknown in the ink, so maybe this Captain
Mhm.
Hook is going to be drawing quite a bit more cards. And here is the strength to take out our Dumbino. And Merfolk
And
going for 6 already. A 1 drop, just being able to quest that much. This is looking very, very good for Josh at this point.
yeah, and the Dumbo used up the turn or the 4 ink turn, came down, wasn't able to challenge because of the John Silver, and then because the follow up play was Bell, we didn't have that extra ink to make use of Dumbo's ability. So it basically got as little value as it's ever going to get in a game like this.
Mm-hmm.
That can't be what Kendall was hoping for. He's hoping that thing was going to draw somewhere in like 2 to 4 cards, maybe do some challenging. Instead, it ate a strength, and it leaves us the Bell, which might be able to do
Ooh, and he's
something of its own.
discarding a Hades on turn 6 to take out that Merfolk and stop the bleeding. Very interesting.
Yeah, at least this Bell being a 4/4, it is one of the few characters in the deck that can challenge into this Captain Hook
Mm-hmm.
without requiring multiple characters. But I mean that Merfolk gained quite a bit, discarded that Hades, which I'm sure we were angling to try to play next turn.
And he says Kakamura
Oh no.
and trade.
Kakamura putting 1 damage, letting the John Silver trade off, so this Captain Hook is gonna get to stick around just a bit longer.
And Calhoun comes in. And so Kendall is running low on resources. He has another Hades, and that is going to be all she wrote for Kendall's resources. So luckily, there's only 2 Lore of Pressure. Josh only has 2 cards as well. 3 cards now.
Yeah,
And
we'll
so
see.
it's a Hades versus the world for Kendall, while Josh is going to be basically at 10 Lore
Yeah,
if
and
he
I
wants to
mean,
be.
we have some pretty
Oh,
impactful draws from Josh. I was just gonna say another John Silver,
I
might stall long enough.
I've never seen John Silver's just be this impactful to a game multiple times. And so this Dumbo comes
Yeah,
in, and I think Kendall should take the 2 Lore here while he can. If Josh trades the 2 characters in, I think he's completely fine with that. But we gotta start putting some lore pressure on.
yeah, and I would have to, bet some pretty good money that this is, sort of how you want to draw up one of these hands like this. Josh drawing a decent bit of removal, but Kendall having the curve where that removal kind of lined up exactly how he needed. The fire the cannons, taking out the 1 drop, the
Mm-hmm.
strength taking out the Dumbo before it can draw too many cards, and that Kakamura coming down
Oh,
to just real nicely hit a break point. Oh man, and then we have a Captain Hook with a dock to follow up, so the cards are still flowing. We've got the 2 quester in
yeah.
play.
And he actually does take the
And
trade.
yeah, I mean now, throwing away those 2 bodies a lot less painful when your follow up uh to it is a Captain Hook and a dock.
Now it would be devastating if he gets 2 Hades off of this. He burst them up like he didn't like what
Mm.
had happened there. He's like, "Why me?"
I mean if it was Karma, he
Vision.
was probably looking at 2 second stars.
Yeah, 2 visions it appears. So now he's just sort of digging. I don't know. Like, you can't even Elsa here. Um,
Yeah.
there's not really like your turn's not going to be very good. You're probably gonna like you have to challenge the Kakamaro, so you're not going to Dumbo. It's just not ideal. Um,
Yeah, and these spots are always tough. Like you have the develops and the visions to let you dig deeper in your deck, but when we're still at a point in the game like this where you're pretty much playing on curve, you don't really have that extra ink to be able to afford to do this. So now every piece of dig that Kendall is playing is just lowering the amount of outs he actually has because we're looking at right now, whatever he takes, it's got to cost 4 or less if he's going to be able to play it this turn.
yeah,
And if he's taking something to set up for next turn, like, you got
that's
to
actually
imagine that
slow.
that's a lot of pressure.
Yeah, so I think Genie would be the best to get for that vision. Uh, and another Dumbo is the play. So he probably was like, okay, the Dumbo's like the only thing I can play this turn. If I miss
Yeah.
next turn, I can draw with a Dumbo,
At
maybe
least it's
find
something to
something.
play. If not too many characters come down, you might be able to afford drawing some cards off at least one of these Dumbos. But
Ooh, that
we
fishing pole I
have the
think is
fishing
gonna
pole.
be all she wrote. Dump truck coming in. Not okay. He is using the effect this time and
Yeah, this
questing.
time putting the damage on this Captain Hook once again, representing two cards if Kendall wants to challenge into it.
We're representing 24 lore right now, and
That's quite a bit.
yeah, uh, or to go to 24 next turn, and so Kendall needs to take out both the Captain Hook and Mister Arrow in order to survive this turn, which I don't think there are cards in the deck for him to do. And so he says that's all she wrote.
Ugh.
And Slab Sharks go and take the 2-0 and have won the match. But stay tuned because the records in the ICL are based on game wins and not match score. Match score is a tiebreaker, but all the games matter here in the ICL. So
Hmm.
this all important match 3 is still going to allow world class cards to hopefully get some points and continue
Yeah,
on the
it's
board.
not quite worth all the marbles, but still at least some marbles.
Yeah. And so, all right. We are shuffling up. We have Blazin Asian on the left playing for Slab Sharks, and Robert, the owner of Team World Class Cards, on the right. It appears to be playing on his phone, so unfortunately, this will be the best shot we got, but we will manage. And so I
Oh,
think
that's all right. I've been watching a lot of TikTok to prepare for this.
yes. Uh, I think on my international flight to Bologna, the kid sitting next to me, I wouldn't say kid, he's probably about 20, 21 years old. I think he missed TikTok so much on that flight because he kept watching the same scene of different movies over and over again. And I was like he'd watch this scene from Megan, and then he'd watch a scene from Paddington 2 in Peru, I think, and it was interesting. But anyway, we have a game here, and we saw a small Prince Philip inked from Robert, who was on the play because World Class Cards lost the last match, to play a Pegasus. So is he also on the toilet bowl or something else? But it does appear to be an aggressive deck. And meanwhile, Blazing
Yeah.
Asian inks a Tipo to play Mulan. And do you know what that means if he's inking Tipo? He's got another
Well, if he's
answer.
inking Tipo to play a Mulan, usually that makes me pretty happy because that means they're on blue steel.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but yeah, to your point, it means we probably have another Tipo or a Sail still in hand.
Okay, so we are inking a Clarabelle to play the
Interesting.
Hyena, who notably just quests for 2. And so this looks a little different than the Emerald Steel deck we saw last time, for
Yeah,
sure.
this reminds me a lot of like the green purple decks from like 3 sets ago.
Yeah, we
So
actually
I'm
haven't
really curious to
seen
see where this curve goes.
we haven't seen a second color, so it could theoretically be green purple. All right, and Blazing Asian busting out with just a pass, wanting to keep his Mulan ready to take out that Bonsai, which I agree.
Yeah, can't swing into that Pegasus, but can still threaten a 3-2 very effectively. And we see it looks like an Enchantress being inked into an Iago and a Fred.
Mm-hmm.
These are all still just Emerald cards.
Yeah. We are playing Mono Emerald. No, it is an Olivia
Oh, that's
Flaversham.
not an Iago. Oh my gosh.
Flaversham!
Man, from from this far away, I swear I saw someone hiding pretending to be a flamingo.
Yeah,
But that just makes this draw even more aggressive.
yeah, and so this is going to be forcing the Sapphire Steel player to go into, oh, panic mode. I need to play some stuff quickly. And so Jasmine is going to come down and hopefully fight back for the board. Mulan going to go take that easy trade into the Bonsai. And then we're going to get a lot of lore this turn from Robert's
Yeah,
side.
I mean, from Sapphire Steel, always got to keep the Steel Tinkerbell in mind, but
Yeah,
that does cost 6, and we're only at 4. So this board gonna get to quest for quite a bit until then. And if I'm not mistaken, it looks like that was an Emerald Chromacon that came down, right?
that was indeed an Emerald Chromacon. So I think this game is going to be pretty wrapped up for Robert unless we do see the giant Tinkerbell that you mentioned previously. And so with Tinkerbell, this could be scary because all of Robert's stuff has one willpower. Without Tinkerbell, I think Robert's going to be feeling good. And so he's going to say, get that Jasmine back to your hand. I want to
Yeah,
keep
we
questing.
might see this match, or we might see this game wrap up before even getting to see what the second color is here.
Oh, wow. We are going to play a smash to take out the Fred.
All right,
Uh,
gotta do what you gotta do.
just to stop the bleeding a little bit. And
See what
yep,
the ink is here.
it is that Jasmine, and we are going to Vision. And now this is going to be a scary situation where I'm assuming he's going to be playing Big Tinkerbells. I haven't seen it in all Sapphire Steel lists, but I believe it was in the one that a lot of these players were playing at Milwaukee that had success.
Yeah, and especially in a build playing the Jasmines as well. You
Okay.
typically see quite a few Tinkerbells. Another Emerald Chromacon could be pretty scary. But I say could be because between the two players, we only have one character in play.
Yeah, and if it's Big Tinkerbell, I don't think you ever want to send that back, to be honest.
I mean, sometimes you can get away with it, but definitely not in a board state like this.
Yeah.
Now that card's just going to be effectively face up in hand, so and anytime we put another character with one willpower in play, it does mean that if the Tinkerbell comes down, like it's going to get some value, but it's definitely getting bounced with the Chromacon. Oh,
Uh,
was that a
That
LeFou
that
being?
was a Ruby LeFou. So we are playing Ruby Emerald aggro.
Very interesting. And I can't remember the last time I've seen that LeFou played in an aggro
Oh,
deck. It might have been like set 3 Ruby Amethyst was the last
and
time I saw
it
it.
was an ink LeFou pass. That is not what you want to see from an aggro deck with 4 ink.
Definitely not. It definitely makes you wonder what could be in hand.
Yeah,
Maybe we're building up for some 5-drop play here.
this game looked unlosable from Robert's perspective, and then all of a sudden he just spent 3 turns in a row doing, for all intents and purposes, nothing with the Chromacon ink pass, and so I don't know. It's just not a good situation anymore. And all of a sudden the tables have turned in favor of our Sapphire Steel player, the Blazon Asian.
And I think we've seen both Mulan triggers this game discarding a dock. And if you're the opponent sitting on the other side and you just watch your blue steel opponent like discard 2 docks, basically saying, I don't need them, you know you're probably in for a world of hurt.
Robert just
Was
drew and
that just
passed
another
again.
pass?
Yeah,
Oh no.
I I'm not feeling this deck right here, to be honest. I've never seen a deck just like decks don't win when they just pass for 4 turns, you know. And the fact that uh, PlayStation just got his first lore after Robert just passed for 4 turns is pretty. I see why he was
Ooh, here we
passing.
go.
He returned the
Yeah.
Tinkerbell to hand and then drew all one willpower stuff. So he was like, I gotta force that Tinkerbell to go bye bye or to get out of there.
We'll see if he has a way to answer this because that is just 7 lore in play.
And yeah, Robert
It's
playing
quite a
this
bit.
actually playing this expertly well, and so I take back what I said. Like he just realized, hey, I can't play into this Tinkerbell. I gotta wait for you to hopefully play it, and that
Right, strength
is
coming in, at least clearing up one character.
yeah probably the
But we'll
Mulan
see.
because you can't send the
We'll
Tinkerbell back
see if
because
yeah, I was gonna say we'll see if any of these Chromacon triggers get used, honestly.
yeah I'd send the Mulan maybe yeah maybe you could probably wait and not send anything back right here, but sending the Mulan is very fine as well.
Yeah, notably, because I've had this interaction come up quite a bit at locals. If Tinkerbell challenges into something while there's a Chromacon in play, because the person challenging with the Tinkerbell is the active player, they get to resolve their Tinkerbell ability before the Chromacons get to resolve. So you do get to, take out something and then potentially take out one more thing before the Tinkerbell gets returned. So we might see that apply here. But going to 12, I mean, this is still a lot of lore pressure in play.
Yeah, no, I think this is pretty much over because the Tinkerbell can trade, and these are like this is just a worst case scenario for Chromacon because these are all on play like blast your guy abilities. So
Yeah.
uh,
Yeah, it's the kind of stuff where sometimes you can still just return them to hand with the Chromacon and try to tempo your opponent out, and you just you say, all right, you're gonna trade one for one with my guys, but at least you're taking up an entire turn to do it. But when your board is 2 to 3 characters instead of 5 to 6, it is so much harder to try to do that.
mhm. Yeah, and so this game's gonna be wrapped up here in about 2 to 3 turns, and so Robert's just gonna slam down another Olivia Flaversham, and we're just gonna see one answer from the Sapphire Steel player on this Flaversham, and I imagine we'll see Robert take a ride to Scoop City. All
It's
right.
like we just get a pretty easy quest in for 7 here
Yeah, he's just
to
gonna.
actually just even up the lore totals.
Yep.
Ooh, and now a Hades coming down, getting to remove something without even triggering those Chromacons. So not even giving the option to, open up one of those tempo lines. And like you said, we just see the card scooped up,
Mm-hmm.
and we'll see if this deck can put something together a little bit faster in
I
game
mean,
2.
it was pretty fast, but then it just it got a flat tire, and AAA
Yeah.
took a while to come change it, and then hey, they changed it nicely, and he came back with a vengeance. But at that point, the Sapphire Steel had just too much time to accumulate resources to counteract what Robert was doing. But it was quite an interesting game, I will say. For passing 4 times, he had a decent follow up after the fact because he wasn't passing because he had nothing to do. He was passing because he would just play into a Tinkerbell, and so once that Tinkerbell came out, he just sent out 7 lore, which could have won the game in other situations, but Blaze Nation just had too many answers.
Yeah, I mean, it was definitely, smart to play it there, realizing that instead of trying to just like trickle out one character at a time or something like that, that really the only way to win that game there was kind of give your opponent enough opportunity to play that Tinkerbell and then dump your hand after and just cross your fingers and hope that there's not a good enough follow up. But Unfortunately, there was enough of a follow up to turn the corner and take that game back.
Mm-hmm. Blazon
Now, as we
only
go into game
altering
two,
2, which is what you never want to see a
ooh,
Sapphire
that's
deck
frightening.
do. Yeah, a
Oh
Sapphire deck
yeah,
altering 2, maybe like Shift Jasmine, definitely Ramp, uh, likely a 1 drop.
yeah, especially a Sapphire deck like this that has some hands where instead of doing your like, little bit slower rampy thing, you can just curve out. Mulliganing two, you know, definitely shows that they got something cooking. Normally this would be the point where I would ask you like, all right, what do we think that this deck wants to see as it's opening on the play? But man, we didn't even know what the second color was till almost the end of that game, so I can't even make any guesses.
Yeah. So we start off with the Ink Pegasus, similar to last game, and Blazing Asian is going to start with the Jasmine Mulan, similar to last game. So starting off with the exact same formula, but notably, we are not discarding Dock this time, and we are discarding a Vision. But we know the hand is very strong this time, so it was unlikely that he was going to have multiple Docks. Uh,
Yeah, yeah. I mean, you see your opponent ink a Jasmine and then also discard a Vision. You have to know that they're stocked up pretty well.
yeah. And so we play the Olivia Flavisham. And that is how they pronounce it in the movie. I really like the way they do that. It is such a fun voice. And we do see Tipo, which is a deadly threat versus this deck from Robert. Tipo can take out most of the characters in this deck and survive.
I mean, anytime you're playing a Tipo and there's even just like an outside chance it might be able to get a good challenge, you're already pretty happy. And when it can threaten most of your opponent's deck, like you've got to just be over the moon.
Yeah, he is such a strong character. We've had him for over a year now. Big fan of his. Almost a year and a half, actually. And double Olivia Flavisham, which is just gonna just be putting out a lot of lore pressure early. But this Tipo is going to be able to free trade into the Olivia and survive, which will allow Mulan to survive as
Ooh,
well. But
we have a sale here. So a double ramp hand, we could be seeing a Tinkerbell coming out real soon.
yeah, and I think this deck pretty much just auto loses to a Tinkerbell, and so this is kind of an unfortunate pairing. Like this deck would probably just beat up Lurple pretty bad. Uh, it might even be able to outrace Amber Steel, to be honest. But
Oh, inking a Tinkerbell actually.
oh, that means he's got another one for sure.
Yeah, Tinkerbell and a Pleakley. So, if there is a follow up Tinkerbell there, like that ink is already taken care of.
Yeah,
And man,
if I'm facing against a Pegasus and a Flaversham, Tinkerbell's uninkable to me unless I have another
oh
one.
yeah,
Like I almost don't even want to ink it like to show that like I have one and let them play into it. And so Robert's gonna ink the Go Go, which the Go Go is interesting because I don't know what cards Robert has to put damage onto characters like maybe LeFou, but yeah, I think Robert has a pretty strong turn against the Tinkerbell, which is he's still going to lose Pegasus and Flaversham and get a damage on each of these. But the Bonsai is something that is probably the strongest character we've seen as a 3
hmm
attack, which can help the Go Go. But yep, here is the
there's that
Tinkerbell,
Tinkerbell.
and Robert's going to be able to get to 12, but then a Tinkerbell's going to be on the board, and so I think he's just too far to overcome, and this is going to be a sad 0-2 for or 0-3 overall for world class cards, unfortunately, and Slab Sharks is going to likely stay undefeated, and world class cards is going to stay defeated in match score.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, getting to 12 there, definitely not the worst, but this board state's not going to last long. Just swinging into the LeFou there for the relatively easy trigger. And now probably just a consideration if we're trading this Mulan or using the Pleakley to attack the bonsai.
Yeah. And I don't think it's physically possible for Robert even to get to like 15, 16 lore. Oh, and Namari's going to just start the cycle of cards and
Yeah, I mean,
Disruptor.
if we see, I think it would have to pretty much be like go into go at this point. The Pleakley does have 3 damage on him, but even one go is
Yeah.
not getting to 20.
Yep. And Robert just
And yeah,
says,
we decide that that's not enough.
"You got it." And Slab Sharks takes a decisive 3-0 victory. Very started off on the back of a very, very, very close game that Dale Bolito took out Justin Shaft in game 3. And then we went to Josh taking out Kendall in a 2-1 victory with the Toilet Bowl deck versus Blurple. And then we saw Blazing Asian take a decisive 2-0 victory versus Ruby Emerald Hyper Aggro off the back of an early giant Tinkerbell.
Oh yeah, that one. Oh man, that one takes me back to the hyper aggro days of like what sets 1 through 4.
Yeah. Yeah, I did see a lot of old familiar faces that I did not enjoy. But with that, guys, that is week 3 of the ICL. Slab Sharks first world class cards. Slab Sharks stays undefeated, moves to 3-0, and world class cards goes to 0-3. Unfortunately. Any shout outs you want to make before we get out of here, buddy?
No, I'm all good. Thank you for everybody for tuning in and hanging out with us. If you're still here, I think we'll let you go pretty soon.
Yep. Thank you for watching, guys. Hopefully, we'll be back soon with more matches that aren't the feature match for the week. Have a good one, and thank you for watching.
Peace out.